You, my friends, listening to the Z Report Live right here, J Network Scoop Radio. 3 minutes after 12 o'clock, 12:03. And as I said, we have the talented storyteller himself on the line. Let's plug him into the system, ladies and gentlemen. And let's see if we can get him into the air. Are you there, Yoel?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you speak a little louder?
So, Yossi, what it's supposed to be with you on your show. Thank you for having me.
Wait. I got to give you the proper introduction. With me via telephone at 9 o'clock in the morning, Los Angeles time, is the renowned speaker and storyteller and Rav, the one and only Yoel Gold. Good morning, Yoel.
Good morning, Reb Yossi. You know, when you first called me this morning, you asked me if I'm awake. I told you that I already got a ticket this morning for holding my cell phone in my hand by a red light. But the cop was so nice, Reb Yossi. He was so humble. He was so good that I didn't even mind the ticket. He treated me with respect, and I got the lesson already this morning to treat other people with respect.
So first of all, were you wearing a mask?
I was in my car, so.
Second of all, for somebody that works in video, you're really not aware about all the cameras that are available in the world today.
I know it's interesting. No, he was on a motorcycle and he pulled up right next to my car, and I rolled down the window, and I was a block away from my kids' school. I was dropping them off, and I said, "Officer, my kids are late already to school. Can I just come back here and drop them off first?"
You really said that?
I said that, and he was so nice. He said to my kids, he said, "Look, your dad seems like a good guy. He made a mistake. We all make mistakes. Just give me your license and registration. Drop them off to school. I'll be waiting for you here."
See, so the trust only goes that far.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Reb Yoel. So, first of all, we go back to probably about 6 years ago. We met by the Lakewood Hatzalah auction when we first got to know each other in person. But I was very excited about this interview because how many people get to interview the interviewer?
That's very true. It's a good way to look at it.
Okay, so we're not just interviewing Rabbi Yoel Gold about his videos and inspiration and his Hashkifa and, of course, his Tisha B'Av programs. But right now, Rabbi Yoel has a very interesting project coming out in time for Hanukkah entitled Behind the Music, an original Hanukkah film by Rabbi Yoel Gold. So we said, you know what? If we have Rabbi Yoel Gold as an interviewer and an entertainer and he's putting out a Behind the Music video, we got to get him on the radio to talk about it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rabbi Yossi. It's good to be on the other side. It's good to be interviewed for a change.
Okay, so just tell me what the hard questions are so I can ask them.
No, it's the Behind the Music. The film is Behind the Music. Every song has a story, and it's an hour and 15-minute long film. It has, some of the greatest composers, A.B. Rottenberg, Yossi Green, some of the greatest singers, Mordechai Ben David, Avram Fried. We have Eitan Katz on it, Yonatan Razel, and they each have a story to tell about one of their most famous compositions, one of their most famous songs. And people say to me, where did you get this idea from? Who gave you this idea? And you might laugh, but I said I got the idea from Tehillim. You open a Tehillim and you take a look at every Lam Natseach, every Mizmor, every song David HaMelech wrote is immediately followed by a description of events or experiences or stories that inspired that song. And I said to myself, wow, so it must be that every song has a story. And I wonder if this would hold true when it comes to, modern day singers and composers. And it was true. And not only is it true, they have some powerful, some incredible stories. Not every story in the film is, how the song was inspired. A lot of the stories are, around the songs, but they're compelling, they're inspiring, and they're definitely captivating.
I was going to tell you, I thought you were going to tell me you thought of the idea after listening to my radio show or, our conversations, but I guess if I had to lose out to somebody, David HaMelech's not a bad person to lose out to.
No, I'm going straight to the source, Yossi. I was suspecting you got the idea from David HaMelech too.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah. So you settled on these big-time singers from what I could see, and very, very diverse crowd. I see Eitan Katz here on one side, and then I see Yonatan Razel on the other side. I see Shlomi Dax and Shlomi Simcha from yesteryear, and Shlomi Gertner and Avram Fried from this year. So you have a very eclectic mix over there. So, obviously you can't give everything away, but can you tell us, I guess, maybe something interesting that happened while filming or a story that didn't make it on the video, Yoel?
There is a lot that didn't make it on. partly because we couldn't get everyone on time for the film to be released, which is why I hope that Be'ezer Hashem, Hashem green lights this film and it's successful and people enjoy it and people appreciate it, that we will do it behind the music too. And we have so many talented singers out there that would have loved to be in this project. And when I texted them and I emailed them the trailer, I said, stay tuned, you are on the next one. And, they're excited. But, what I can tell you is that some of the stories are completely unknown. People have never heard of it, even though they've heard of the song. And I don't know, somebody told me that Yossi Green put out a book, Manginas Chayai.
He did, that's right. It came out in Hebrew. In Hebrew and Eretz Yisrael. It hit America too, but it's only in Hebrew. It's not available in English yet.
Oh, it's not available in English. Okay. So it happens to be that the story about Yossi Green in the film, he already wrote in that book, which I didn't know.
Right.
But when I heard the story from him, I was so blown away. It's the story behind Tanya and how Tanya was composed and what led up to that inspiration that, caused the Tanya to be brought into the world.
Right.
I mean, was just incredible about, it's really a story of a reunion between his father that he was privileged to be a part of, between his father and the Belzer Rebbe's last Hosbacher, Gabbai. And it turned out that Yossi Green was born from a bracha that Rav Aaron from Belz gave to his father in the presence of that Gabbai. And it was an incredible story. And this Gabbai moved into Yossi Green's neighborhood right next to his house at the end of his life in the 80s. And Yossi Green had his father over for Shabbos, and they had sort of a reunion. And Yossi Green discovered right then and there that his neighbor was the Hosbacher that facilitated the bracha from the Belzer Rebbe for his father that eventually brought him into this world.
Wow!
And it turned out that they were learning the Chavrusa also. They didn't even know it. They were learning the Chavrusa every day, and that morning they were learning brachas Daf Zayin. And as he came to the Gemara, he said, I'm so inspired by the reunion between you and my father and the fact that I was born from that bracha. And the Gemara talks about bracha. The Gemara talks about Beni, a son, and all that. And that's how, he sat down at the piano. He asked him permission. He said, you're a chashav arav. Can I compose a Gemara? Can I compose a song in a Gemara that has a Kadosh Baruch Hu's name on it? Akah, Hashem, Tzvaka, Isaac Asrikel. All these, Kabbalistic names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in that Gemara. And he said, absolutely. And, just an example, that's how Tanya came into the world. It was a burst of inspiration that was born out of that reunion and that discovery. So when people listen to the song Tanya, it has so much emotion, so much feeling to it. But what they'll discover is that feeling and emotion was generated by the story that preceded the song.
I also think, Rabbi Yoel, that reading that in a book and hearing it from Yossi Green's lips directly, watching him in a video, tell over the story, and Yossi happens to be an amazing storyteller. He's very animated, you can't compare that to reading it in a book.
No, you can't compare it. And, it's so true. And Yossi tells the story incredibly well. He's passionate, he's animated. And, somebody, I was recently doing an interview for a magazine, and, the fellow asked me, what's the difference between your stories and Rabbi Pesach Kron's stories and Rabbi Fran's stories? And I told them, and I tell people, there is no difference. The only difference is in the format. And, they write books, but what I'm trying to give to people is the protagonists themselves telling the story. Because as great as any storyteller is, and there's some incredible, talented speakers and storytellers, and I have great respect for all of them, I do believe that there is a component when somebody shares a story that happened to himself, there is an emotion that will go along with that storytelling that can't be duplicated by a storyteller that is giving it over secondhand. So that's that's exactly what he's saying. And Yossi does it really well. Not only did it happen to him, but he's also a great storyteller.
Yeah, he definitely is. I spent many an evening talking to Yossi. As a matter of fact, we just spoke yesterday. I forgot to even bring this up to him. I think he would have got a kick out of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
so
great guy.
Rabbi Yoel Gold with us via telephone. We're discussing the release of his upcoming film, Behind the Music, an original Hanukkah film by Rabbi Yoel Gold. So let's see. We got Shlomo Simcha Nebi Rottenberg in Toronto, Yonatan Razel in Eretz Yisrael, Eitan Katz now in Eretz Yisrael, but then probably New York, Shlomi Gertner in London, Yossi Green, Shlomi Dax, and Avram Fried, Mordechai and David in the tri-state area. How did you pull off filming all these people in all these different countries and continents?
That's a great question. Yes, what can I tell you? It takes a village. It really does take a village. And, it's we're just finalizing all the credits. And I'll tell you, there's so many names and faces running through my mind that helped produce this over the past 6 to 8 months that we've been working on it. It's a team of people and a network, really, because I don't fly to any of these countries, especially now during COVID. I haven't really flown a lot. So I have some great friends that we've worked in the past in London and Eretz Yisrael and in Canada. And really, they do the work. And, I am on Zoom or on a call, seeing it through and doing the actual interview. But the cameras, the lights, the mics, all that has taken place by the talented people in each location that we've partnered with over the years. London, Shlomi Gertner, people might know his story about, how Kodesh Yilachem, the Malkala song about his daughter.
About his daughter, right? Yeah,
that's very famous.
Yossi Green's involved in that story too.
Yeah, Yossi Green is involved in that story. He actually composed the low part, Kodesh Yilachem, was his composition. I mean, he came with the Malkala, the way, he sang it to his daughter, Shlomi Gertner, but then Yossi finished it, he completed that song. But the way it's presented on the film and the way Shlomi Gertner tells it over and just the footage and it just something that you will never sing that song the same way again. It's just so beautiful. So there are some known stories. Most of them are not known, but there are some known stories. The other story that might be known is A.B. Rottenberg's The Man from Vilna, and how the reunion happened between the Russian soldier, who happens to be a rabbi who passed away already, but he was a very chashuv yid in Detroit, in Oak Park, Michigan, Rabbi Leo Goldman, and the boy who grew up to be Abe Foxman, who was the director of the ADL for many years. And that reunion, and the woman at Yad Vashem who discovered who the boy was, and she reached out to Rabbi Leo Goldman and made the reunion happen. Just a beautiful, beautiful, again, it's like an 8 to 10 minute segment of A.B. Rottenberg in that film that will leave you, I think it will leave you very, very moved. And you'll never hear that song the same way again either. So,
Rabbi Yoel, you keep saying 8 to 10 to 15 minute segments. How long is this film? Because from what I remember, your average films are usually like, 35, 40 minutes, right?
Yeah, no, this is an hour and 15 minutes long.
Wow. That's a long time.
It's around 75 minutes. To be exact, it's 73 and change, but that's what it is. We've tried to really give a 10-minute slot, between a 5 and 10 minute slot for each artist to tell their story. So, it's around 9 stories. I mean, you do the math, turns out to an hour and 15 minutes. And it's riveting, captivating. Go to ashkifa.com and take a look at it with your family. It's a great Hanukkah family experience. It's meaningful, and it's inspiring, and it's entertaining.
So this video, it says purchase here. How much is it going to, it says here, $26.
It's $18 per family,
right.
And it's a nonprofit. These funds, we're working on another film, actually, which I don't want to talk about right now.
No. Then we want to talk about it.
It's an incredible film. We're working on behind the shidduchim. Every couple has a story.
Interesting.
And some mind-blowing stories, but we'll focus on that later. But it's basically the funds they regenerate. When you purchase a film, you allow us to produce our next film. That's how it works, and you allow us to really spread the inspiration to all of Am Yisrael. And Baruch Hashem, there were already so many purchases. Even though the film is not available yet, it's being available by Hashem tonight online. It's going live, but there have been so many purchases from around the world that people are excited about it. People are looking forward to it. Especially, your audience, Yossi, who are listening to you and appreciate music so much. I think they'll really appreciate this.
Of course they will. If it's a Yoel Gold project, why wouldn't they appreciate it?
No, it's because Yossi Zweig is putting a stamp of approval. Yossi, they trust you.
Buy everything Yoel Gold's selling. That's it. Okay, fine. Now, Rabbi Yoel, what I wanted to ask you, I know you're a 9th grade Rebbe, Mesivta Birkas Yitzchak. Does Does this cross over with your Talmidim? You know, these videos, these stories, and everything. Does it make your teaching harder or easier sometimes?
So, very good question. I am not a ninth grade Rebbe anymore because it's exactly that. It wasn't. I couldn't do everything I was doing for a long time, and it started really taking a toll on other areas.
So you might want to update the bio on the website.
Yeah, we're going to update it. Yeah, we're going to send. Yeah, no, I should say it's a former ninth grade Rebbe.
Former, that's right. Okay, fine.
Former ninth grade Rebbe, and again, because one of the quotes that really led me to give up, some areas that I was involved with, so I can more focus on one area is the quote of, if you're 99% in, you're 100% out.
I hear.
And
you can't split your attention span properly. Give both.
If you do, it comes with a price. You're paying the price, and my Talmidim were paying the price. I was traveling a lot, speaking, and producing, and doing all these different projects that I was working on. It just wasn't fair to them. I was starting to wing my shiurim, and as soon as that started happening, I pulled out. I said, it's not fair to them. It's not fair to anybody. Let's just get there are so many people who want that job.
I hear. Okay.
I'll step down.
Fine, Rabbi Yoel, I'm going to let you have your morning coffee after your ticket.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Yossi. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your show, and thank you for allowing me to share this incredible film. The information about the film, at least, please visit hashkifa.com, and Rabbi Yossi will be in touch. Thank you.
No problem. So that's Hashkifa, HASHKIFA.com. Behind the music, every song has a story. You said premieres tonight.
Tonight.
Wow. So I better let you go back to editing.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Shkayach, Rabbi Yoel.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.